Well, folks, the audio may be hot. I trust it is. He tells me it is. He's just told me it is. But that doesn't mean Britain is. Britain is cold and it's
Oh,
grey and it's wet. And hop over the channel and move south a bit, and everybody's melting. Or as the United Nations now say, the environment is not warming anymore; it's boiling. Yes, we now live in a boiling planet. Isn't that interesting? I can't really say
well,
anything else
that's
over
one
beyond
word
that.
for it. Yeah.
I think I might have to start including environmental links and all sorts of other stuff here to extend the show recently because it's been a bad week for me. All sorts of things going wrong, but oddly enough, it's a really slow week for news. Hopefully, it will stay that way at this time of year. James here. I'll introduce him in a minute. My name is Mal Burns, and this is Miss World News and MBTV News, depending on how you look at it. And because they're both on the logo. And you can follow me still, oddly enough, by going to twitter.com/malburns or whatever you type these days during the when you're trying to exit. No, I mean, you know what I mean. Anyway, that's where you'll find the links to some of the things I'm going to be mentioning here. I'm joined by James Atloud, who takes care of all the camera angles, audio, and everything else like that. So, welcome to James here.
Oh, thank you, Mal. And I'm attired for. I'll be gone next week
Yes,
because I'm going to Las Vegas in the United States for a Star Trek convention. So thus my clothing in the studio
that's,
today.
that's your clothing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one of the old Star Trek uniforms, isn't it?
it's a next generation uniform. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was a bit. Just, it was worthy of mention actually. I was a bit. There was two Star Trek episodes in the last week. Sort of the one with where they met the cartoon characters of themselves was weird to say the least.
Mm-hmm. You
Um,
know, crossovers are big in this world now. We all
yeah,
live
and
for crossovers, right?
apparently they're going to be doing a musical one. I think it's the end of the series. But
Mm-hmm.
the one in the week I watched was one of the guys on the Enterprise and the woman doctor. They'd been in a war with the Klingons at an earlier point in time. Um, and a Klingon ambassador was beamed
Well,
onto.
Mal, don't spoil it for me. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh right, okay. Well, let's say the kind of innocent, optimistic sort of threads we get on Star Trek as a rule. I thought the plot on this, especially the ending, really maybe wasn't the best. But when you
Mm-hmm.
watch it, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get out of Star
Yeah,
Trek.
our future utopia from Gene Roddenberry has kind of withered
It's gone
in the modern age, right?
in all sorts of things. Yeah, people have been making a point that this is more like the original series, self-contained
Mm, a little
episodes
bit, right?
and a bit of experimentation. Well, bit is not the word, but yeah, had this one was too dark for comfort, which doesn't seem very Star Trekky to me. But
Right,
anyway,
right, right.
let's get on with the other stuff. Now, up on our screen here, we have a few, and I really mean a few. One, two, three, four, five links this week. Gosh golly, gone are the days when I dive down rabbit holes to occupy us for an hour. Right, we're starting with the Scar Ghost. We have a sound effect for that too sometimes. And today's one of those times, so
One
even
of those
better.
days.
Tony Vitillo is his real name, and his website is scarghost.com. So SKARREDGHOST.com. And yes, indeed. He always starts off the week with what he calls the XR Week Peak. It's either Monday or Tuesdays normally. And it basically covers the same time period that we would have covered on this show last week. But it's a good roundup for the beginning of the week. And obviously, tomorrow being the beginning of the week, because we're broadcasting live on Sundays. Didn't tell you that, did I? No. And I even got the date somewhere. Yes, 30th of July, so the last show of August. There's my first rabbit hole, but I won't go down there. I will continue with this. Anyway, the week peak for this week It's talking about Apple applications for developers, Vision Pro, and Meta may stop the production of Quest Pro.
Oh, I think it
Wow,
stopped. I think
the
it's
sooner
done.
the better, sooner the better, really.
Yeah. Yep.
There it is. All it needs is three big letters saying RIP.
That's the Apple headset you're showing there.
Oh God, it is. Oh dear, that was a mistake, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's all
This
right.
week VR is dead again, he says. Sorry to inform you about that. It's been good to dream about the metaverse. We can now get back to frying potatoes at McDonald's and binge on Twitter during the free time.
Oh my. Okay.
Oh, oh no, not even that, because Twitter is also dead.
Right.
It's now called X, and it's becoming the Western WeChat. What is quite interesting is it TikTok or WeChat? Why the Chinese big companies is thinking of expanding into America and Europe with an alternative to Twitter. Um, Anything's got to be better than Musk and Zuckerberg, really, but there we go. So anyway, he's commented on that, as you can see. The Apple News, whatever. Apple getting really tough with their APIs and stuff because Apple actually loan the devices to developers, so they don't have to pay 3,500 for it. But I think you have to sleep with it under your pillow or something, because they're paranoid about anybody leaving it somewhere or it becoming public. One of the, especially as they're giving the developers for free. Anyway, um, okay, yeah. It always seems to me that the roundup news is much the same as the absence of news. It's all about the four-letter word company or about the four-letter word bloke, but not. Yeah, never mind. Any four-letter words around, it's very hard to explain what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
Oh, and the interview with Dean Takahashi interviewing Wagner Orr, Hamlet, about his new book. And I've got another one that came up in the week here. Philip Rosedale did the second of his podcast interviews with Hamlet Orr as well, which is a brilliant listen, reflecting on 2 decades of stuffing, really. Right. But yeah, Dean Takashi's interview was an audio podcast, I think, and a written word one, so that was quite good. Newsworthy of a mention. Is that worth mentioning? What the is it?
It looks
It's,
like a handmade VR headset.
the image comes from Sony. Oh, right.
Okay.
Sony shows the behind the scenes of PSVR 2. So
Oh.
that's what happens when you take a Sony contraption apart,
Hmm.
apparently, I presume. Anyway, mention it again. God, can't get rid of them, can you? Siemens invests more than $1 billion in the industrial metaverse. Well, that's a slight change of. Yeah. Anyway, as I said, you can go and read the Scar Ghost Week in Review, basically. As I say, scarghost.com, SKAREDGHOST.com. And yeah, moving down to my next one here. Come on. Being a bit slow. There we are. Okay. Probably the only thing here that actually is worthy of being news, I think. Magnopus have announced connected spaces platform available for free as open source. The Spaces platform, which I think is the same that's been around for a while, will enable developers to build an app for the spatial internet. Now, they describe it as a foundational building block for the spatial internet, which, by the way, spatial computing, spatial internet seems to be the expression that by common practice is now replacing the M word.
Yeah,
As it
that's
registered.
Apple's influence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I'm in quite a few Discord groups and things that are quite old. Have been there for a good few years now. That
Mm.
are they could refer it to spatial computing.
Okay.
Um, it's it's always been a slightly more respectable title than the kind of immersion-led sort of thing of metaversal stuff, because it's, spatial computing is a lot about spatial interfacing and spatial components. It's not just virtual worlds, but it is them as well, of course. So the open platform would allow developers to build an app once and then easily deploy it across mobile, web, AR, and VR. Magnopus is supposed to be an experienced technology company, and they're open sourcing their connected spaces platform. Time magazine said it was one of the best inventions of 2022, and this facilitates the development of interoperable spatial applications, meaning the same experience accessible across different devices, different technologies, etc., etc. This is really what the OMI group, who I follow very carefully and go to their general meeting once a week, or interop and open source, basically. I'm not entirely sure how Magnopus. In fact, let's go and visit them. Sorry about that. oh, it's got one of those, has it? Come to think of it, why has it got no? It should have sound, shouldn't it? Okay. Well, we've got a nice little.
Got a lot of movement.
Lot of bit. Oh, it's a thingamajig.
A peafowl.
Yeah. So I'm on the web page underneath this picture. It says where physical meets digital to create extraordinary experiences. That is not half bad as pictures go, actually. It's actually a long rectangle one, but the way it's on the page here, it allows me to scroll up and down the inset. Oh, that was nice. It's going too quickly. There we go. Right, okay, well, we didn't have any offline videos this week, but we got a nice one there. That's the loop. It's on the loop now. So that's all their front page says. Nice picture. And yeah, talking about Sony Music, content for Disney Plus. They're proud to make visions into realities. So that's the company blurb, really. Right, okay, now I've done that. I better go back to where we was. There we are. Right, so advert for the Economist Impact. That is an event coming up before too long. It's in London. And oh, hang on. This one's already happened. It's a current post, but the advert's rather old. I think there is going to be another one though. The Economist magazine have been, or newspaper, whatever you call it, have been doing a lot. Yeah, so there's a whole lot of insider brief on this. Basically, a glorified press release with a bit about the Magnopus people at the bottom there. So you will find this at a site called metaverseinsider.tech. So metaverseinsider.tech. I don't really know. I needed to spell metaverse inside after all this time, did I? But there we go. I did it anyway.
It's true to form, Mal.
True to form. Yeah, exactly. Right. XR Today. Got two posts from them here. Almost finishes off. The X-Real Beam is the latest innovation from extended reality pioneers X-Real, who were previously Nreal. Well, I've mentioned the Nreal, is it Air or something, that was advertised, and then I found I couldn't get one because the British, if you want one in Britain, you've got to sign with a particular ISP, and I certainly don't want to change ISPs. I've got the best one in the world, thank you. But it's in America, and the X-Real Beam is like an extra gadget that goes on it. Let me see if I can get the web page for this for you. Oh no, that's exit reader view. There we are. Right, okay. XR Today. This is their web page, and they do have a little picture there. making the beam. It's a handheld little thing, but this is one of those strategic poses, very theatrical, where the foreground. I don't. I do get like exercises, keep fit style exercises once a week using Zoom, and it's really funny because they tell us to punch a distance and stuff. And there's one exercise where my hand is always almost punching the camera off the stand.
Oh, wow.
I stand here going like that, so I have to be very careful where I'm punching and flapping my arms. But as you can see, it's to a good effect there because, of course, it makes it look far bigger than it really is. Um, with the model there. Right, actually that is the only picture, so the rest of it is all just talking about the specs and things. It also has an adapter for smart glasses, specifically for X-Real Air, which was previously known as Unreal Air. And yeah, it looks like a little like an original iPad, they say here. So a few buttons for controlling audio and display. Yeah, the Beam will extend the Nebula app, which is a built-in app that people find the Unreal, X-Real, I should say. Oh, God. I just realised, I think they'd be better off as Unreal. The last thing they want to stick an X at the moment, but never mind.
Everything. Yep.
Everything is going to be an X.
It's all X's.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they talk about the features of the Beam. Virtual displays, adjustable, wireless and wired together. Complementary cable, 5 hours of battery life, 7 days standby. USB ports are special. 3 spatial display modes for different use cases. And rapid charging, 50% power up in 30 minutes. How does it work? Well, I'm not going to read all this out to you. You can go find out for yourself because I'm very kindly giving you the link, aren't I? What you want is xrtoday.com, xrtoday.com. And read all about it, as the man saying newspaper says. Right. Okay, back to the same site here, XR Today, yet again. This is another roundup. It's a bit like the XR Week Peak, in fact. In fact, my last two things here are roundups. This is a couple of days ago, so it really covers this week as well as a bit of last week. It was a big one for some major players in the enterprise XR space. They're talking about here about earnings. Somehow, Four Letter Word is still making a lot of money, though apparently it is none of the money is coming in from their so-called M projects. It's that is just a drain, but I guess it's coming from advertising. Reality Lab division, which is their thing for the Quest and whatever, has plummeted by 3.7 billion, as announced on Wednesday. So Zuckerberg says it's a good quarter. Yeah. Some people are half-brained, aren't they? I think this is a case of quarter-brained. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Zuki. Right. Meta partnered with India's Ministry of Electronics. I suppose it depends on what you find interesting in terms of news. Normally, when I get something going in the feed that mentions META and something to do with them, I think, well, that's not news. They're on the way out, aren't they? You know, every little deal that Meta make and add to their thing is really just, you know, it's not all embracing news. I want to hear about new platforms, new devices and stuff. Instead of hearing about what Zuckerberg is buying up. Right. Platform integrity attestation. That's a nice word, isn't it? A new Quest service that protects users from piracy and fraud. Okay. Does it? Okay. Protect them from child molesters and things like that. That is the big question at the moment.
Okay.
Actually, and it is worth mentioning, although I'm a big fan of, as everybody moves to Mastodon and various things like that, they're coming under scrutiny for unhealthy things happening on their platform.
Yep.
But then again, Zoom, all these platforms had it at one time, and Twitter obviously had it all the time. Okay, they're looking at Samsung, etc. I don't really know what to say here because I can't read you out a whole long article. All I can tell you is it's a good sort of place to catch up on stuff. So, like the previous link, just go to XR Today, xrtoday.com, and this will be easy to find at the top of their page, really. And finally, we go to Forbes if it's loading. There we are. As soon as my reader loads, it bypasses the firewall by the look of it. So I'm most happy here. I can show you Charlie Fink's roundup of the week. This is he doesn't seem to be doing his beginning of the week roundup anymore, which was for another paper or blog. But he does this one at the end of the week anyway. This week in XR, Meta makes bank despite XR losses. Blade Runner AI eye scans. God, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? And free open source maps. And exactly what this lot have to do with the metaverse, I don't know, but I do. That's our former Deputy Prime Minister, isn't it? Nick Clegg. I don't know who the others are, but Zuckerberg is not in sight, is he? So. Oh no, hang on. Amazon. Oh yeah, Amazon Web President of OpenAI and Greg. Okay. Oh God. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a lookalike. Stop doing this. Anyway, Charlie Fink has a different sort of perspective on these things. Very much commerce is probably at heart. He's more interested in commerce and stuff, even though he's he's sort of academic too. I mean, it's recognised spokesman on the general field of what I think I would call spatial computing too. What is this? Sorry. Well, I've got time to watch. We've got a map of the planet here, and this is some company called Overture places data. I suppose this is data density in 60 million places around the world. And I presume there's no legend here, unfortunately, so I presume these dark areas are the major data dense areas. And since Britain will be up there somewhere, and this is North America, particularly the East. Don't know for sure, but anyway, you can read all about it by following Charlie's links. Question 2 is who should own a digital twin of the physical world? This is an interesting question. I was actually, it must be 10 years ago or more. I can't even remember what they were called now. Some odd word like hullabaloo, but not that silly. They were trying to build an open source virtual world, and it was like a mirror world. So they weren't using Google Maps. They were getting open source maps from around the world, and they were in particular one in France and Times Square in New York, and they literally made the buildings as they were on the map. And the idea eventually, the idea eventually was that people could come in and they could build their own place, or they could take their, they could sort of snap up the land where their own house was or something. It was a bit awkward for people in flats and people who had large chunks of land, and there was no to stop people laying a claim to something that wasn't theirs. It was all a bit okay, but I actually, in avatar form, appeared on French television, walking around Times Square with the CEO of that world, and it was interesting. It was interesting, but so coming back to that now, this is an interesting question. Who would own digital twins of the physical world? I mean, would there be somehow, a virtual London in a digital twin of the physical London? And if so, would it belong to the mayor, or would it belong to the national government, or would it not belong to any of them? It would be each house would belong to whoever owns it in the real world. And that's just one side of it. The other side, of course, is the back end, the servers that keep it all running and everything else. They will presumably want to own it. So maybe talking about Open Maps, the Virtual Maps Foundation here, but the implications of all this stuff. I mean, it's well, as we've seen with AI, you know, the furore that has come about because of something that first seemed very innocent and now suddenly is a nightmare. You know. Anyway, oh yeah, here's a nice picture for you. Introducing MetaQuest 3. Not.
What?
Oh, wait a second. I've got this wrong. It's MetaQuest 2 he's cancelled and MetaQuest
No,
3 is
no. The
expected.
Quest Pro is canceled.
Oh, now how
So
many are there?
Quest 2 and Quest 3 are still going.
Right, and the Quest Pro, right, okay. How many does it need, for Christ's sake? Right, okay. All right, the New York Times, is that going to be cancelled too? Um,
It can be
July.
canceled as far as I'm concerned.
Copies of New York Times sit for sale in Iraq on July 23rd, 2008. What's all this to... Don't know what the... Oh, okay. New York Times is joining performers and artists who are suing OpenAI for using its content to train its AI. There's more of this every day. There's a woman who used to blog quite a lot, and she's on a lot of panels and things, called Kathy Hackle.
Hmm.
And I do follow her. She started a WhatsApp group, so she posts you know, news links once or twice every day in the actual working week. Some of it is relevant to me. I may retweet it or whatever. Um, but certainly a lot of anecdotal stuff about, you know, people AI and the problems it's getting into here. And oh yeah, WorldCoin is being a bit of a furore at the moment. People are very worried about that. So I, I don't know with all these financial things. It's a digital ID project to verify users' identity by scanning their eyes to confirm the user is human and not an algorithm. And well, yeah. Um, Harrison Ford tried it out a while ago, by the look of it. Quite a long while ago. Yeah. Um, so something like that. Hyper Reality, The Art of Designing Impossible Experiences. That's a book on Amazon by the look of it, uh, by Curtis Hickman. I'm not sure. Um, oh, yeah, Curtis Hickman. He's the Chief Creative Officer of The Void um, platform. So writing about that there. Richard Lee, I've been taking. He's got lots of pictures here. He's making my day. It's good when we're viewing it like this. We can see all the pictures. But there we go. That's about it. So that is my last actual link. And as I say, this is Charlie Fink writing at Forbes.com. So hopefully you can get it through one of my links, or you can actually go to Forbes.com and find it, Forbes.com. Forbes is normally behind a paywall, so it's a bit of potluck if you actually go to the clean web page, whether they'll let you in or not. But I think rule of thumb is they allow you one or two visits a month before they insist you pay up. Right, Voices for VR, by the way, has nothing new this week. I did check before we came on air, so July 13th was the last one. But there were a hell of a lot on July 13th. You probably haven't even listened to them all yet. Right, okay, so that was that one. I shall remove that item. And talking of Charlie Fink, right, just by sheer coincidence, I'm going to move across to my Mastodon feed. Now, my Mastodon feed, MetaWorld's Mastodon feed anyway, is duplicated to the Mal Burns Twitter. So if you follow on Twitter, you will see the feeds from Mastodon anyway. If, however, you don't, well, I'm going to go through them as you'll see them on Mastodon. What you actually want is mastodon.social and then slash and then the at symbol and then MetaWorld. And that will take you to one of the feeds. I'm not including it here, but I will give you the other another one too, because both of these actually end up at Twitter. The one I just gave you is for video clips throughout the week, and the twits, sorry, the twits, the tweets I normally twit to Twitter are now posted to Mastodon, and a robot takes care of sending them right through to Twitter itself. So on this one, we have socialvivaldi.net, and then the /@ symbol, and then Mal Burns with a capital M and capital B. Yeah, I know, but what can I do? Let's see if we can show you a bit clearer. Yeah, this is the clean version of Charlie Fink's blog that I just covered. It looks miserable with small pictures, doesn't it? Yeah. So the robot takes you straight there, so it didn't give pause. For, what the? What that was. We're in a totally different browser, aren't we? Sorry about that. Right, here we are. So I'm going back to the Meta World Mastodon. And appropriately, having just spoken about Charlie Fink, this is his actual podcast at the end of the week, which he does with Ted Schilowitz and Robbie Abowitz, and in conjunction with a very extended sponsorship that he leads off with every week. Yeah, too extensive, I think. You know, it's like one of those things where you get a 5-minute advert and a 2-minute program, but they're pretty good. Anyway, Ted Schilowitz is with I think it's Universal Pictures, and Ron Abowitz is very big in gaming and VR stuff. So yeah, they just sort of talk.
This episode of our This Week in XR podcast is sponsored by Zapper.
See what I mean? moving in.
Slow news week, so it's good to have somebody like Rob Tursek joining us. He's the author of the book Vaporized. About.
He did just say it was a slow news week. I definitely can go with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as he said, Rob Tursek. He's an author, and he's written something called Vaporized, and he joins the three of them. But even on a slow news week, the three of them plus a guest, they usually have quite a lot to talk about. Okay, I can't put it back to the start again, but we don't need to. Right, moving. That's the most recent. All three of these were posted yesterday, going backwards through the week, really. Between Realities VR podcast features somebody called Max Noir. This was posted yesterday too. They seem to have their streamer running for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. Now, hey. You can't close the door like that. I was enjoying it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. It's your favorite podcast. It's okay. We know it's our favorite too. You know, we're
having fun.
What is Ugandan branch of the.
I like their format where they have the guest on a video screen in the middle, whereas they're in a virtual sort of spaceship sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, Max Noir is the guest, and Max Noir is indeed a woman. Max sounds like a male, but it's a woman. Right, I should not be biased. I just don't know. I'm not quite sure what it's short. Maxwell or what is the female Max short for? Anyway,
Maxine.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I used to know Maxine many yonks ago. Very good, very good. That could well be it. Okay, so next one down again this weekend, F Realities podcast. They're talking about VR Toronto 23, the Loom Pad 2, and My X. I wonder what that might be about. More inclined to be game sort of stuff here a bit, but still very interesting. And they're doing
this week is our VR tech. Jose is taking a bench seat and will be supporting from the sidelines with a large foam hand that says "Go Rangers."
Very good. But they do increasingly include a lot more of the mainstream technology sort of stuff rather than just Game Boy stuff. So that's nice to see. Right, moving down to, this would have been on Thursday. Immerse Anglo-American Empower High School Workers with VR training. what's it called again? Yeah, Immerse Podcast, isn't it? Oh, no, XR Today News. We've already been to their website. They do one, maybe even two of these a week. Demon Curitan is the host on all of them, and he just picks various people to interview. This is the chap, CEO from Immerse, co-founder of Immerse and chief executive. So, I think often what they talk about here is more geared to the enterprise and stuff, but
learning. So when the first VR devices came out about 7 or 8 years ago, clearly that was a huge and very obvious pivot. So, we've been building an amazing platform. We had a multiplayer platform 8 years ago, really before anyone knew what to do with it. So we've developed an expertise that allows learning.
that's true. I remember visiting Immerse way back when. I must admit, I didn't realize it was the same company, so I'm glad I picked out on that just now. Very interesting. They're both British, by the way. I mean, the host here, which of course makes it sort of a bit more familiar, as it were, for me. The subjects are, the interviewees are from a wide range, not always just British voices like you heard there. Right, moving down. My old friend Evo Haining here. She's doing sort of not so much for OMI, but for Meta Traversal. And this was probably the first sort of long form one she's really done here.
More engagement is where,
So we can
right,
more discussion forums.
Tony Parisi. She managed to get a lot of people in for this one.
Many different
and
pieces to this. And it's
in fact, I missed another one later. I've really got to get myself booked so that I can go into these. So come along. I'm constantly being told. Although having seen the quality of this one, I'd be more than happy. A lot of well-known faces here as well.
We would love to do that work with you. So I just want to go ahead and put up a previous playlist, because this is the fourth in a series of meta-traversal conversations. We are moving toward a more participatory framework, and I just want to thank our friends at AWE Live for helping us open and expand this conversation to the broader community. But we want you to go back, watch these videos, and then if you have a demo to share, if you have a talk that you would like to propose, or you see a convergence happening, and that can be around language, UX, data privacies, Web3. All of these topics today are in conversation for the next meta-traversal. So everyone, thank you for bringing your greatest thoughts to the table. I hope you'll check out the XR Women Museum as well. I heard that some people got there during this event and watched from there. So Julie and all of you, thank you for making that happen. And from all of us here, Ben, thank you so much for producing and helping us steer this ship and making sure that we can stay afloat.
You'd think they were closing it. They're only 12 minutes in. It's an hour and 15 minutes, so nothing like closing it before you've even started. Great listen anyway. It's actually just called Test, but you'll find them at YouTube as Metaverse anyway, but I shall be the professional looking ones and the meaty ones. I shall certainly continue pasting into the blog here, the feed rather. Okay, this one is the latest big news. Right, this is XR Today again, XR Today News, and
hello everyone, we are back again.
There we are.
This is Ron Curitan, Senior Journalist from XR Today.
Trying to remember, right.
Incredibly important to have any form of metaverse success. Maybe not right now because it's all being established, but perhaps in the next few years, and as these services develop, those are going to have real-time 3D support.
Right, there you have a journalist.
They don't do it to bring us the
I thought that was Charlie Fink for a minute.
They want market shares. And they want, in their own perspective, having some kind of lock-in.
who draws attention to this scene, to the XR scene.
Film production.
Absolutely. I was just going to interject because you guys made some very interesting.
Is how many loudmouthing?
So I'm trying to get them all in. There's just another person here somewhere. I can't find them. No, not there. Oh, there we are.
To be quite honest, yes, but not with this.
This is one of the people, the co-chair of the VR and AR Association.
You know, if they can get with the new chip, if they can get 0 layer, whatever, as close to 0.
Right. Giving you a teaser here, obviously, I can't relay the whole of these things on air, and they're far too long anyway. This one's about 50 minutes, but very meaty. Got some real goodies coming up though in this list. There's more embedded video links this week than there are actually web pages, as we saw. This one is XR Today again. And this is actually a specific short. It's only 16 minutes, this one. Talking about creating avatars with RT3D.
Mon Kirtan, senior journalist from XR Today, bringing.
And
talking to creative directors and producers and game directors, and we
this lady's from Didimo.
It doesn't exist.
Oh, actually, it's just with her. Actually, they are talking about Didimo and 3D characters.
A lot of
so yeah, that's good. And right, my favorite of the week. I did actually vaguely mention this. This is the second of Philip Rosedale's, well, hopefully going to be a regular podcast. This one where he spends 90 minutes talking with James Wagner-Raw, who was the original embedded reporter, so to speak, hired by Linden Labs at the beginning to be in Second Life. His new book is Making a Metaverse That Matters, and was it VentureBeat I mentioned earlier? I think who did the interview with him. But this one's very much a different thing. This is, they are actually talking about his new book, but Philip is basically connecting and going through a whole load of history. And I'm glad this is coming together. I remember Philip asking ages ago, sort of, shall I do this program? Here's his introduction.
I was writing about technology for Wired magazine. In 2003, he accepted an unusual assignment. He joined Second Life to become the first ever embedded journalist in the virtual world. Wandering around with an avatar in a crisp white suit, an homage to Tom Wolfe, he had a front row seat from which he described the creativity, the drama, and the controversy of the rapidly evolving metaverse. Notably, although we did pay him for his work, Linden Lab made no editorial decisions and had no control over his writing. He captured the experience on his blog, New World Notes, and eventually expanded it to cover many other virtual worlds and VR and related technologies. In 2008, he wrote The Making of Second Life, and he's just published a new book called Making the Metaverse That Matters. It broadly covers the genesis, the evolution, purpose, and meaning of the now numerous platforms that offer open virtual worlds. In this conversation, we look back on Second Life, as well as covering much of the same material as is found in his new book, such as whether virtual worlds can make us better people, whether they're for everyone, and what impact AI will have on them and through it on us. It was really great to reconnect with Wagner. I hadn't seen him in several years face to face, and so it was a delight to have him up for this conversation.
Hey.
Hi.
Good.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. All right, my first question to start us off. You've got this blog, New World Notes,
Yes.
which is amazing. It talks all about the whole.
Right, well, I gave it the whole of the introduction there.
Yeah.
It said it all really. It's a very good talk, right? So it is rather long. It's near 100 minutes by the look of it. So, but all the chapters are actually marked really clearly here, so you can skip to parts of the conversation you might want to. Although, quite frankly, there's nothing there you would want to miss. I tell you. Right, back to the next one. And early in the week, Tuesday, this would have been, we had the VR crewcast. So we saw.
Actually, we could talk about anything. We talked about Serial last week.
We saw Between Realities a few minutes ago. They were back on form. They're guys. Yeah, there they are at the bottom. They're part of this one too, and they basically just join up together every week for this other thing, which is they're not the VR crew of anything particular. It's just a bunch of people who report and like talking about VR and AI and stuff like that, and all get together. And it's a bit like a Zoom call, this one, because it's not just a couple of guys and a guest. It's sort of, what is it, like 7 or 8 on the panel at a time. So worthy of watching that one. And only one. Oh no, this one was on Monday. Wonder what that is.
Huh.
Yeah, that's last week's program. So we are actually up to date here, as it were. Right. I will leave us with that one on screen for want of anything. James, any thoughts? We're at the end, so.
Yeah, we sure are. No, nothing in particular. I had something at the beginning, but it's fled my mind. So I think it was related to Twitter and X, but I don't know. There are a lot of product names in the world that have X. For example, Xbox, and so I feel like there's some challenges coming for the Twitter cum X brand. But
they are already in a hell of a mess. They've been just by choosing that name. They had to. There's a Twitter user whose handle was X.
Ah, okay.
And that is the thing that has really caused them a problem. I think they're going to have to pay him a lot of money to take away his account and make it their own. But also there are just, XR, extended reality. I mean, the X is used contextually in so many of these things that, I mean, there is madness and there is madness. And I just, it beggars belief what this guy is doing. He spent an absolute fortune on a company that he's now destroying as quick as he can.
Yeah, he's got nothing on King George, does he?
Yeah, I guess there are others.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do make them, don't they?
They do.
Right. Actually, there used to be an old television program about a sort of rather strange, teenage kid of parents. It's called They Do Make Them, Don't They?
Oh, okay, sure. Well, this is not related to Twitter per se, but I think when a person gets to a certain echelon of power, they just become so insulated from reality that their minds drift from what's real to what they imagine. That's just me. I'm just pontificating.
Well, no, it's something I particularly think we come across with politicians who, after all, are they're all sorts of things these days, aren't they? But technically, they're administrators, ministers. They're governors. We vote them in to do a job of governance, not because we like their face, although sometimes it happens. But the thing is, people talk here about Westminster and Parliament, and how toxic it is. People with all the best intent in the world, just are corrupted by the environment, not themselves doing that thing. And before you know it, they go back to their constituency meet their voters for a day at the weekend or something. Then they're back in London. They're up at 8 in the morning, and they're still working on midnight in the House of Commons or something. They really don't know anything outside the House of Commons except their surgery and whatever constituency they've got, and probably all the local restaurants that are open after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how cut off those people are, but I mean, I would think it's incumbent on the position they're in to find ways of staying in touch. And I think I don't know what it's like with Congress in America and stuff, but I suspect these people get You know, in America, I know they're filthy. They're even more filthy rich than they are over here, because to get into a position, you have to have money to stand and buy votes and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
We at least don't have that.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Right.
no, exactly. But no, you know, it's sort of the king of nowhere land. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, it's there's a line of that. No, it's not Bob Dylan. That's a different line.
Beatles? Nowhere Land?
No,
No,
so
no, you're right.
No, Bob Dylan's got the oh, steal a little, they throw you in jail. Steal a lot, and they make you king.
Ah, okay.
That's quite a good line, but that
That's a
wasn't
good
the one
one.
I was thinking of. That it's a good one, yeah. It's not quite the one I was thinking of, but yeah, you know, you can be more and more elevated and stuff, and you know, the distance between the guy at the top and the guy at the bottom is just, you know, well, it's all over the world now, you know. So you know, the gap between the rich and poor, etc. So yeah, that's the nice thing about when we're talking about, you know, metaverses and names and stuff like this. We're talking about communities and new ways of working and new practices, even new money, and you know, or new something other than money kind of thing even. You know, all this is happening. Unfortunately, by the time we make the changes, the world will probably have melted on us anyway. But you know, it's you know.
Well, there's no melting in London today, is there?
Oh no. But I mean, I'm just generally, you know. Oh, Southern Europe, then over in Asia and in China and on the American West Coast. That's not just one little place, you know. And all it takes is the winds to come from the south and blow that heat up to us. It's all being blown away by pretty Arctic wind at the moment, so it's not getting to us, but it could. Yeah. So it's yeah. Maybe I should actually have a news program, a discussion about these sort of things, really, because the more the days go by, the more concerning it is. You see the environmental mess we're in. You see all the predicted inequalities and things like refugees and people, you know, leaving areas of land that are no longer fit to inhabit, you know, and they need somewhere to come, and then people like Britain, you know, doing the best to make sure they don't get here, you know. Actually, even Europe is doing that too, as best they can. You know, it's dispersed peoples, you know, and resources are getting thin. I often wondered if, well, I don't think Putin's got his head screwed on at all, but the fact that he started attacking, oh God, what's the name of the city, where the port city, where
Odessa.
Odessa, that's it. You know, because some will say, you know, in the decaying world, you know, Russia wants to have a land grab at all Ukraine's resources, you know, and stuff like that. But given that they're actually destroying the very things that would be worthwhile winning, again, another nutcase. What?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Even if he's the worst person in the world, and you think of him like that, it's what's happening just doesn't make sense. So.
Yeah. Well, Mal, these thoughts are too big for my little brain.
Yeah, they are for mine too. But
Yeah.
I just can't resist. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we will call it quits. But otherwise, we'll be talking like this for another
That's
hour.
right.
Everybody watching it say, "What's
where did they go? Where did they go?
What's the metaverse with this?"
That's right.
Yeah, they're down. They're both down the rabbit hole. Yes, that's the way to go. But I'm not sure we'd be safe in the rabbit holes. They get pretty hot down there too. Enough. Okay, so folks, my thanks to James here for attending, taking care of everything, and talking.
Yep.
And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope we gave you a little bit of news, and it was a little bit today, I'm afraid, but there we go. And we will be. No, we won't.
Not next week.
Unless there's a bulletin done by me in another format, we won't be here next week, but we'll be back the week after. The rate the news is pouring in at the moment, I don't think you'll miss us. But there again, I can't swear. I can't swear. You know, who knows? The Enterprise may crash into
right.
crash into Los Angeles or something.
I'm trying to activate my communicator, but I'm not hearing it. So on my avatar.
I'm reminded of an opening scene in oh, hang on there. Well, it was another Star Trek thing that finished where near the final episode, somebody nuked the Star Trek Academy, didn't they?
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah. So in my mind, I'm just hoping that whatever happens in Los Angeles while you're there is not that.
Right. How dramatic would that be?
Vaporized.
Right.
By a wayward Enterprise.
Well, it would end my pain, so that's good.
Yeah. So, which is your favorite period of Star Trek? Just out of interest, I'm not really a Trekkie, but I'm sort of picking up on all these variants.
Oh yeah, I still like the Next Generation. I liked how Picard's Enterprise was teamwork. You know, he wasn't just the boss, but he always consulted his staff, and it was very. I thought it was a great way to think about civilization.
Oh, okay. And that's quite a long while ago. I almost tried to download it. I was going to download the series of that actually, and then I realised it's in low resolution on a 4:3 aspect ratio, and I thought, would I even better watch this? If they're remastered or something, maybe they'll make it.
But the best ship is the Enterprise from the motion picture. That's the most beautiful ship in Star Trek.
The one that I really hooked onto many years ago now, for a while, I think it was after New Generation. It was the there's a woman captain of a ship, and it was called
Voyager. Yeah,
Voyager. That was it. Yes, it was such a funny time where I guess I saw it on TV every week. I was somewhere. I wasn't out and mobile. I actually got to watch it most weeks, and I quite took to that one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really the only, until the recent ones. That's the only one I've ever really watched. So, except when I was a kid.
Right.
I think there was the old black and white original. Yeah, but it's funny, because it's great stuff. Although, I can see why so many people become so-called Trekkies,
Yeah, they're generally people who are hopeful for the future.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's definitely good.
Yeah. Optimists.
Optimists, indeed. Yeah. Well, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic as a rule. I think I sound pessimistic because I think it's wise to be, deliver the cautionary tales. I keep thinking I'm probably a big fan of Holland Harrison's Dangerous Visions period. And, of course, the anthology wasn't just Holland Harrison. It included a whole lot of things. But it's actually a bit like George Orwell in 1984. These fictions were really written as warnings, not prophecies. And unfortunately, you look back on some of them now and think, oh God, they copied that. That was meant to be something you were being warned against,
something to avoid.
And, so we'll see anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Star Trek did give us a communicator.
Yep. Well, we should probably let these good people on YouTube go.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I'm just waiting to be beamed up.
Oh, okay.
I've got a little particle thing or something to put over my seat that goes whoosh.
I should, but I don't.
I think we've got similar things over at the HIE build that we're working on, but I haven't got them here, so never mind. Okay, well, we're out of here, folks. It's goodbye from me and James. Stay well, everybody. Have a good, in Northern Hemisphere at least, it is sort of holiday time sort of thing. August, the month, So have a good one, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye for now. It's a wrap.